And it looks like we're live. My name is Grace Gravestock, and I am with the Know Yourself Revolution. What shifts are you seeing around you? I have been on the phone all day, lots of calls with clients all over the world, and I'm seeing some really interesting phenomenon. I'm going to say trends, maybe patterns. I'm curious what you're seeing where you are. I spoke with one of our viewers of the recent event last Tuesday. If you missed it, it was called "Your Incarnation Cross and the 2027 Prophecy: What You Need to Know." And we have a big contingency in South Africa. That was really exciting to speak with Cassie in South Africa. And what she said is that she's noticing in South Africa a big shift. She's noticing that people are, I'm going to say, waking up. There's a lot of information that's been kept from a lot of different groups there. And they're just, I'm not sure exactly what's changing, but people are becoming much more aware and open to, and maybe getting access to new information, maybe spiritual information. That was the impression that I got. But it was an interesting trend because I talked to another one of our listeners from our first summit back in January, the first Know Yourself Revolution Summit, and Aurora. If you're listening, Aurora is also in South Africa. And I know South Africa is a big country with lots of people. It was just interesting that all over the world, I've been getting a little bit of sampling of some of our viewers and listeners and clients that are following the Know Yourself Revolution that are part of this shift. So if you're watching right now, I'd love to know where you're watching from. I'm about to share some of the things that I'm finding in patterns around the world. So if you could put in the chat, if you're watching this live, where are you? Hey, Sherry, where are you in the world? I'd love to know. I'm going to be sharing what I'm finding. It's so fascinating to me. Okay. Hey, Sherry, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so you're in the States. That's great. And a different part of the country than I'm in. I'm in Austin, Texas. So in South Africa, what I understand is that there is a big spiritual awakening going on. And I'll have to tell you, I have been perhaps the most pleased, excited, like literally feeling satisfaction in my design when I heard these testimonials from people in South Africa, because like not one, but two people, and this is more so than any other single location that I've heard from, but these two ladies were talking about how much the events have changed their lives. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I want to say that we have what I call family by choice all around the world. You have family by choice all around the world. We do. That's part of the Know Yourself Revolution. So my belief is that we can choose our family and we can choose who we want to invest our time with. And so I'm meeting family by choice all over the world, and it's super exciting. These two particular ladies have told me what a big impact the event had on them and how they've been using the gratitude practice. You know, I'm going to put that in the chat just in case you're unfamiliar with it. Here it is. It's my two-step manifestation gratitude practice. It's free, so there's no obligation. You'll if you do sign up for the emails, you'll get just a couple emails just to remind you and see how you're doing. But the point is, this gratitude practice has really been changing lives. So put in the chat if you are using it, if you have used it, if you've seen results. I am so excited about the results that I am hearing about and the shift that it's making when people actually use this every day. I'm talking about, one person said, I used to just lay in bed and hit the snooze button 7 times every day. And then I would just try to get myself up with multiple cups of coffee. But she said, now I use the gratitude practice. She said, I'm calling in miracles every day and magic, and I'm seeing it. That was so inspiring to me, so exciting. So put in the chat if you are, what you're seeing, if you're using the gratitude practice every day. Oh, I see someone else. Let's see. Colleen from Johannesburg. Yay, Johannesburg, Joburg. I had a college roommate who would always talk about Joburg. She grew up there. And that's so awesome, Colleen. Thank you so Colleen, since you're live, that's so interesting. put in the chat if you're seeing this evidence of this thing that I've been hearing about. I've only heard about it from 2 people, but considering the sample size and the representation, I've really only known that I had 2 listeners in South Africa, and I've heard from both of them, and they both said this. So it's really curious to me, and I'm really excited, because what it does is it indicates that it's not just the things that we can talk about from an academic perspective. You know, we can talk about the energy shifting and the background frequencies, and people can still say, yeah, whatever, like, what does that mean? But when we're seeing actual evidence of things changing around you, that is really exciting. It's validating, because it's like, hey, people have been, some of us have been waiting for this for a long time. I'll be honest, like, I haven't been on this journey all that long, like maybe 7 years. I know people that have been on this journey for 20, 30, 50, 60 years. My cousin, you know, she's telling me about what was happening in the 60s, and she's like, I'm ahead of you. Like, I've been doing this for a lot longer than you. And that's great. Like, I understand that there's different waves, you know, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, probably more. One of my friends, Carrie Hummingbird, has a book about that, the waves of volunteers. It's an interesting idea if you've never heard of it. Colleen says, hello, family from sunny South Africa. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to come visit you in South Africa, Colleen, and all my friends there, my new family by choice. I've heard so many amazing things about South Africa, and challenging things. I know that there's a lot of challenging things about every area and every geography, but I'd love to hear, Colleen, or anyone, especially anybody from South Africa, what you're seeing in terms of a shift, a spiritual shift and awakening. People seem to be really having some big shifts. I'll just say it that way. So that's interesting to me. If you're in another part of the country, I did hear from some family by choice in India on our last summit, and I was really surprised and pleased to hear about the impact that these practices are having. The practices of the gratitude practice. I'm going to put it back in the chat just in case this is new to you. Super powerful. It doesn't cost you anything. You just need 10 minutes a day and a pen and paper. At least that's how long it took me to get results. There are people that takes longer to get results. You're certainly going to see different kinds of results. We're all different. But if you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, because at a minimum, you're going to get a shift in your attitude. It's going to be, you're going to see things in a different way. It helps you to create a different lens. Anyway, let me get back to my point. So what shifts are you seeing where you are, and where are you joining us from? So in South Africa, I understand that there is some kind of a spiritual awakening happening, and people are really starting to become interested in and maybe have more availability of certain information that's been perhaps kept from them. I'm kind of guessing based on some limited information I have. Let me see. Okay, Colleen says that's true in my experience too. That's great. Very validating. Thank you for sharing that, Colleen. So that's South Africa. I also heard from one of my former clients in the corporate world. And as some of you may know, I have been in the corporate world for more than 20 years, helping large companies and countries even with big change projects. One of my first projects was a really high profile role in the UK, where it was like a consolidation of services for citizens, putting everything in one place. And that was a really big change management role. And I didn't do everything. Obviously, we had a big team. There were a lot of people working on it, but I had a pretty high profile role as a spokesperson for that. And that gave me a lot of really great opportunities in my career to be on other large scale change projects, usually technology. And then I've worked for big companies and corporations and utilities and, a lot of things in the last 20 years. My point is I have friends. It's still there. And I got to talk to one of them. We've become friends. And she was one of my clients. And we were talking about the shifts that she's seeing in the corporate space that she's in. And thanks, Colleen. I'd love that to visit. Yeah, I'd love that too. So maybe as we do more of these, we'll plan some trips. I made a new friend from Egypt the other day through Facebook, and I'm thinking we need to start planning a trip to Egypt and maybe South Africa too. Anyway, getting back to my point. So what shifts are you seeing? What shifts are you seeing in corporate? If you're in corporate, What are you seeing in the office? What I heard about and what I've been reading about on LinkedIn is a shift towards back to work, get back to the office. So, of course, in 2020, one of the big shifts that we all experienced was working from home, working remotely, right? And now with AI and the quick advancement of, excuse me, these technologies that automate so many things, there's a lot of shifts in the workplace. And so I've been monitoring that, perhaps not as closely as I could. So I'm open to feedback to hear what you're seeing. But what I'm hearing about and what I'm noticing and what I'm learning about from my client, my friend, now my friend, is this: there is a shift to go back to work. And this is a pattern that I was reading this really interesting article on LinkedIn. Some of my change management colleagues were commenting on it. And it has to do with a pattern that has just been repeated. So it's not about, what they say is that it's not about really more efficiency or effectiveness, how people are able to work remotely and do more. Everybody's being forced back to the office. And there's a lot of people that feel like that's a control mechanism. It's something being put in place so that people can more easily be monitored. But even more than that, there's some ideas that it's actually just about kind of laziness on management's response, in terms of management. That it's harder to create new ways of measuring people's productivity. And so the fallback is simply to just say, hey, are people showing up? Okay, I see you, check the box, you're here. And that's an easy way to know if things are getting done. I mean, it's not a real indication. We all know that. Whoever's been in corporate, we all know that just because you're physically there does not mean it doesn't mean that you're mentally there. It also does not mean that things are actually getting done, right? So my point is the shifts. I'm asking you, what shifts are you seeing where you are from the spaces you're in? So we're talking about corporate, and the shift that we were talking about is this shift to being more, I'm going to say more controlling in a lot of places, and less freedom for a lot of people that were able to prove that they could work remotely and get more done, be more efficient, more effective, and it was helping them with work-life balance. But now there's a push to get back to the office. I'm curious about if you're hearing this. I know this is streaming to LinkedIn, and it's also streaming to some Facebook groups and my YouTube channel. So I know I have viewers all over the world. And so if wherever you're watching, I'd love to hear what you're seeing. If you could put in the comments, and I will reply to you as soon as I can. But I'm really curious to see what shifts you're seeing in the corporate space, because I left corporate almost a year ago now. It was in June of last year. And I was advised to stay. Like, financially, it would have been way better for me to stay than to go out on my own and start a new business. But I am following my my soul's calling. I feel like this is what I'm being called to do, is to share these messages about helping you make a transition that's fun and easy from old to new ways of living, working, and being. So that is my role as a change agent. It's in my human design. If you've been following me for any time, you know what my human design is. I am a hermit heretic, or you could call me a natural, let's see, there's so many different languages around human design, but it's 2-5. That's what I am. I'm really unique. And I am in traditional human design called a manifesting generator. But in a quantum language, that is a time bender. In our language, if you get a report, I'm going to put that up just in case you are new to this. If you want to get your report and find out what you're uniquely designed to be and do in terms of your human design, you can get it at whatsmychart.com. So my intention has been to simplify the language and make it really easy for anyone to understand what they're configured or hardwired to be and do. So on that free life purpose summary report that's based on your unique configuration, based on your date of birth, time of birth, and city of birth, it does tell you the 4 most important things that I think you need to know about who you are and the way you're configured. so that you can understand what does right work look like for you. So many people that I talk to are dissatisfied, they're frustrated, they're not finding fulfillment at work. If that's you, put put not fulfilled in the chat or in the comments wherever you are. I'm really curious to see more data points around the world. Of course, I read about it and stuff, but it's always interesting to hear from people, real life people like you that are listening and paying attention. So 3 shifts that I'm sharing about. The first one was about South Africa and a shift towards more spirituality and people being more open and interested in spiritual awakening. The second shift is in the corporate world. I'm seeing a shift to more less freedom and perhaps more control with a back to the office policy that's quite, I've heard in some places, quite strict. And it's making it very difficult for people to maintain the work-life balance that they have had since 2020 with all the shifts that we went through then. So the third shift that I'm seeing, and you notice that all these shifts are in different types of shifts in different places. So one is geographic, I'm asking about. One is the type of environment that you're in, like in this case, corporate versus entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs have more freedom and flexibility about where they are, when they are. That's why I claim time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom every day in my gratitude journal. And the third shift that I'm seeing is a shift towards people wanting to be on purpose, wanting to live and be on purpose. So I talked to 2 different clients today who told me that they have just a burning desire to do something different than they've been doing. And I'm thinking about one of these people has been very successful financially, and he's had businesses since 2006. And it's not like he has to go find some other more lucrative work. Like, that's not the issue at all. But he said to me that he has a burning desire to do something different that's more in alignment with his soul's calling. And he wants to work together because he wants to understand what his human design energy blueprint says about what that is. What is he here to be and do? I mean, you can find out what you're here to be and do at What's My Chart. And if you scroll down, you can see that there is a career roadmap. And if you want to reach out, you want to schedule time with me, we can talk, or you can just get it all there. It's like a 20-page report specific to you about the work that you are uniquely configured for. It's your unique genius. If you've ever wondered what you're here for and what you're meant to do as it relates to work, that career roadmap is for you. It really walks you through, specific to you, specific to your configuration. That yes, there's a big database in the back on the back end based on your configuration, key aspects of your configuration that are in your human design, which tell you what you're uniquely configured to be and do. And I've been wanting to I'm offering this product because so many people are getting laid off. So many people are having to shift their work and their focus because of technology, whether it's AI or large-scale technology implementations, which is what I helped to roll out for most of my career. People are having to make shifts. And so this third shift is a shift that I'm seeing towards more purpose-driven work. It's a burning desire inside to do work that's aligned with the soul rather than doing work that's aligned with the 3D world. So if you're seeing that, put soul work in the chat. Okay, I see a few more comments. Okay, so we see somebody else joining us. Hi, Facebook user. If you don't accept permissions from StreamYard on Facebook, then I can't see your name. So I can't reach you by name unless you do that. And Colleen says, let's see, our people are very spirited and very open to new ideas. Okay, that's excellent. That's in South Africa. And Colleen is a manifester, 5-1 splenic. Oh, left angle cross of upheaval. You are here for this time, Colleen. I love it. And she is a manifester. That means she's an initiator. That means that she is a trailblazer in our system. So if that's what your chart says, then you are here to start something new. And I can already see why you would be drawn to something like a message like this, Colleen, because if you are a 5-1, I'm also a 5 line. That 5 line is the general in time of trouble. That 5 line is the problem solver, in our system. It's to keep, we try to keep it simple, and so it doesn't get into complex jargon. But the point is, if you have that 5 line, then you are here to be a karmic mirror. You're for the other. It's one of the reasons why people might not, I don't want to say people might not like you, but you might find more rejection than really merits who you are, because it's not about you. If you have a 5 in your profile, then you are here to be like a karmic mirror. You're also here to be a general in time of trouble. You're also here to have a heretical message. I mean, there's a lot of things that it means. There's a lot of depth to having that in your configuration, but just right off the bat, Colleen, I can see that you are also like me. We're a little bit heretical, and you're also an investigator. So that's what the 1 line is an investigator. So if you have that in your chart, then you are here to create a solid foundation of information for other people, and they feel safer because of all the depth that you have in terms of the research that you do to create what feels to them a solid foundation of information. So thank you, Colleen, for doing what you do. And I'm wondering if you are feeling the urge, any different urges, any different impulses for something new in this time. We're talking about this particular time we're in. It's the eclipse window. It's also, if you joined us for our event last week, I'm going to put that in the chat too. Our event last week, if you want to get the summary masterclass, instead of watching all 10 hours, you can get that here, kyr.life/MC. That's an opportunity. It's free. It's a summary of the 10-hour workshop. So if you missed our 10-hour live event, it was great. I was literally in front of the camera for 10 hours. It was a lot of fun. And it was long. So I've heard the feedback. Some people were like, it's just a lot. It's amazing. Like, one person today told me that she was absolutely riveted. She said, I didn't even leave my computer all day. She said, I was riveted by all the information, and there was a flow that unified all the speakers, which really intrigued me. There was a lot of variety and so much that she learned. So that was pretty exciting for me to hear that. If you did watch some of them and you're like, yeah, I really want to watch all of them, it's only $27. You can upgrade to VIP, kyr.life/VIP. And there's also a bonus masterclass that we gave for VIPs, helping you unpack your life purpose codes, your incarnation cross. So that was really popular, and we got some great feedback on that. Let's see if I can pull up that feedback easily. I'm not sure if I can do that easily while I'm on the air. I think I'm going to have to save it. I'll post it in the chat on the Facebook group anyway, maybe in LinkedIn too, if you're curious to see what people are saying about the VIP upgrade for $27 and the extra bonus masterclass to help you unpack your life purpose summary, and also to get all the interviews, to watch them on your schedule. So that's an opportunity. Anyway, I want to get back to what are the shifts that you're seeing. So we've talked about the shift that I've heard about in South Africa. I'm curious to learn more, but people seeming to be more open to different ideas, maybe having more information available all of a sudden. I'm really uncertain what that's about, but I've heard about it from 2 people. And then in the corporate world, this shift to more control, tightening down, less freedom, and making people be back in the office, not limiting the flexibility of remote working quite a bit, even though I've seen so many studies that show that people can be way more effective when they have certain people, I mean, especially introverts, but can be way more effective and happier at home where they're not bothered by all the constant interruptions of the workplace. And then there are the people that like that. I mean, I'm an extrovert, so I kind of liked being in the office. For me, actually, I prefer a little bit of a mix, and most people do. So that's being incorporated in a lot of different workplaces. But seeing that shift about what's happening in the corporate space of more control and going back to the office. If you're noticing that, put that in the chat. I'm curious. Okay, we have a few more comments. Oh, wow. Okay, Colleen says soul work. Here to stir. Nice. Stirring the pot, Colleen. That's what you're here to do as an trailblazer manifester. That's awesome. Somebody else said live event was great. Summary was excellent too. Wow. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. See, unpaid testimonial. And look at this. The VIP was worth the 27 in my opinion. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm not sure who that is, but I appreciate your support. That's awesome. And then Colleen says, definitely feeling creative urges. I'm a first timer. Awesome. So why was I talking to Colleen about the urges? Let me tell you this. All of us have to wait for something. So if you're new to human design, and especially if you are a projector or an orchestrator type. Awesome. I see you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words. That's awesome. So Lisa, I think it was Lisa that said the VIP was worth the $27. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. So what I want to say is we all have to wait. So if you are in the majority, then you're what we call a builder type. Or in traditional human design, it's called a generator type. But really, we're the ones that are here to do the work. And we're here to do stuff, but we have to wait for something to respond to. It means that we're not here to initiate. The only ones that are here to initiate are people like Colleen, who is here to wait for the correct energy. She's here to wait for that creative urge, that creative push. And so I'm curious how it occurs to you, Colleen. If you're still there, it'd be interesting to hear from a real live manifestor. I mean, I just have book knowledge and clients, but you know, it's always interesting to hear it live. Every person's a little bit different. But those creative urges are what this particular type, the manifestors or the trailblazers, have to wait for. They're waiting for the correct timing. So that's important for them. They make up about, Colleen is part of a group that's about 8 or 9% of the population who are here to start things, to initiate. And then the projectors or orchestrators are here to wait for the right invitation. Here's the thing. If you're an orchestrator, put on an orchestrator in the chat. I'm just curious how many orchestrators we have. Our event, by the way, featured several amazing orchestrators and talked about the interesting role that you are going to be increasingly playing if you're an orchestrator. So if you haven't got that and you're really interested in learning about what you're here to be and do, what you're here to be and do is a little bit different, and it's going to shake the fabric of society, I have a feeling. So if you're an orchestrator, there was one of we had several of the speakers talked about the orchestrator role. If you're curious, you can do the 10-hour summary masterclass, and this is free, kyr.live/MC masterclass. And you can get a sense for the speakers and what I'm talking about. Most of them gave away free gifts. But my point here is just to say that everybody has to wait for something. The trailblazer types have to wait for the right timing. The orchestrators have to wait for the right invitation because they're here to be wise. And not everybody, frankly, they're not here for everybody. They're here only for the people that recognize them and see them and ask them, for their input or their wisdom. And so for those people, they are waiting for that recognition so that, and it's not to make them feel frustrated. If you're an orchestrator, it is not to screw up your life by making you sit around and wait. The point is you have so much wisdom to share, but not everybody's ready for it. And your people might not be around you. So you have to wait, or you get to wait. Okay, we do have an orchestrator watching. Thank you. You get to wait for the right invitation. And I say correct invitation because just because you get an invitation doesn't mean you have to take it. You're here to wait for the correct one. And how do you know if it's correct? Well, first of all, you listen to your inner guidance system. If you don't know what yours is, if you don't know what your inner guidance system is, I'm going to point you back to here. It's free. Get it now. whatsmychart.com. It tells you about your decision, how you're meant to make decisions. So if you're an orchestrator, I see that somebody here is paying attention. That is this orchestrator. You're waiting for those invitations from somebody that recognizes you and it feels yummy to you. This is a key word for you. If you're an orchestrator projector, it needs to feel yummy. Why would I say that? Because you can't just take any old invitation. Like, you are super special. You're here for a reason, and you're here for certain people in your fractal. And it needs to be the right people, or guess what? They're not going to take you seriously, and they're not going to be able to hear what you have to say. So God, or the universe, or creator, or source, or however you understand the energy that is bigger than us, has put in place certain safeguards so that you, as an orchestrator projector, don't get burned out, so that you don't waste your time and valuable wisdom and energy on people that don't deserve you. So that's why you get to wait for the invitation from somebody that does recognize you, somebody that does see that you have something that they need and want, and then they ask you. And if it feels correct for you, then that's going to be a win-win. That's the only kind of relationships that I'm interested in going forward. I call them new paradigm relationships, but some people just say they're just like plain common sense, like only win-win. So if you're an orchestrator, you are meant to wait for an invitation that feels yummy to you. If you're a builder type like I am, either an express builder or a pure builder, you're here to wait for something to respond to. That means that the universe is going to signal you, I like to call them cosmic breadcrumbs, with an indication of something for you to respond to, that you then check in with your inner guidance system. Is this a yes or no for me? Is this a yes? Yes, you move forward. You'll feel satisfaction. If you get a no and you choose to move forward, you'll probably get frustration. It's as simple as that. There's no right or wrong, good or bad in terms of your decisions. There's not like a big Santa Claus in the sky that's going to punish you for making the wrong decision. This was really freeing for me to realize when I had an orchestrator that really helped me change my life a few years ago. And he helped me to see that there's no wrong decision. It's just a different experience. And if you can give yourself grace for that different experience, that is going to free you up from the paranoia and the paralysis that can come when you're thinking about, oh no, am I going to make the right decision? There is no such thing as the right decision. Trust me, I struggled with this for so many years. God, is this the right decision? Is this the correct one for me? I mean, I was just praying for so many years, trying to make the right choice. There's a different choice and a different outcome. And so when you listen to your inner guidance system, maybe if you're coming from a Christian perspective, as I used to be, you're listening for the Holy Spirit's guidance, or maybe you're listening for your inner GPS, as I call it now. But either way, you're going to want to listen to that inner guidance and so when you wait for something to respond to, that's how you know if it's a yes or no for you to move forward. And if you are if you are in our system, it's called an analyst. In traditional human design, it's called a reflector. I have a sister who is this type. Guess what? You think it's bad to wait for an invitation, or to wait for something to respond to, or to wait for the creative energy to move, like the urge, as Colleen does. Let's see, Colleen says created urge comes from rest. That's right. You have to be ready for the action. You have to be ready for the invitation. You have to be ready for the impulse. Yeah, urges. She meant to say urges. I get it, Colleen. Creative urges come from rest. You have to be rested. And somebody says yummy is a really good and clear clarification and measurement for those orchestrator projector invitations. Thanks. You're so welcome. That might be Lisa. Yeah, it needs to feel yummy for you. So that is what's important for you to know about how to move forward in a way that's correct for you and aligned. And, just a reminder here, if you don't know and you're just joining us, find out what work you're here for at whatsmychart.com. So anyway, I wanted to just circle back and do a quick summary. So I'm seeing 3 shifts, and I'm wondering what shifts you're seeing where you are. They could be shifts based on geography. Like, I'm seeing a lot more people moving to Austin up until recently. And then I started seeing headlines that people are not moving to Austin anymore because the cost of living is so great. And now they're moving more to Florida, apparently. So there's shifts that we're seeing with humanity right now, because we're in the middle of these crosshairs of the energetic, the background frequencies that are changing. We talked about that last week. I'm going to put that back in the chart, back in the chat. If you want to learn more about that, you can get tickets. Whoops, that's this weekend. I'll talk about that in a minute. If you want to get the recordings, it's VIP, kyr.life/VIP. if you want to get the 10-hour summary. I mean, it's the 1-hour summary of 10 hours. You can see that for free at kyr.life/MC. So the point that I'm making is that we are going through a lot of shifts. In that event, we talked about the prophecy for 2027. There's two key parts to that. The first is the background frequencies. They're shifting. They're moving from cross of sleeping phoenix to from cross of planning to cross of sleeping phoenix. That means moving from sameness to individualism at a high level. That's the summary. And the second big shift is we are energetically shifting. So according to Human Design Prophecy and the founder of Human Design, Ra'uruhu, there is a prophecy that the humans are human. We're going through an upgrade. We're actually going through an upgrade right now. So those shifts that we're hearing about, those shifts that we're feeling because of the eclipse and so many other things, they're part of an upgrade to our DNA. You can research more about this in Gene Keys. That's fascinating. Like how our DNA is literally up leveling and shifting is one of the most fascinating things that I got from studying Gene Keys. So there's a lot of people that talk about these things. In fact, I was talking to a woman who's a yoga and meditation instructor today, and she was talking about a shift. What did she call it? It was Gudi Parva was the reference point. It was a shift from April 9th. Apparently, there's going to be a transition for 7 years that's going to be very difficult. According to, this is some, I don't know if this was necessarily an Indian tradition. I can't remember the word that she used, but the conversation that we had was that there are all these prophecies and wisdom from different places and different sources, and they seem to coalesce into a cohesive message, which is like, hey, we're going through a shift, and here's some different ways to look at it. So that second part of the shift that we talked about in the event, in this event last week, was about the human upgrade into our energetic system. So we are literally changing our hardwiring, and it has to do with a technical shift in our hardwiring. So, you know, one of my mentors is Karen Curry Parker. She's written a book about this, which I'm reviewing again because I'm going to be talking about this shift this weekend. That leads me to another opportunity to share with you, just in case you're in the Austin area or you're interested in traveling over the weekend. kyr.life/eclipse. I'll be speaking at an event. It's mostly for people who are into astrology and some kind of more esoteric kinds of things. But I'm going to be speaking about what happens when the sleeping phoenix awakens in 2027. So it's going to be more interesting things that are specific to that. So to that prophecy that I shared about the background frequencies changing and the literal energetic wiring for humans changing. That is going to affect our relationships. It's going to affect it's going to affect sexual relations. It's going to affect communication. It's going to affect so many things like business, how we do business. It's going to affect, like, literally there's nothing it's not going to affect. So it's really a big deal. And it is technically supposed to happen in 2027, like, you know, whatever, January, February. But as you know, we're talking about energy things. And so this is like big changes. And so I believe that we're already in the midst of this change right now. We're getting our DNA upgraded. You know, I've heard about, I was on a human design leaders call earlier this week, and they were talking about the solar flares and how those are really set up to upgrade our DNA through frequency. So is it true? I can just tell you what I'm hearing. I believe it's true. And the reason I do is because of all the interesting things related to that I read about in Gene Keys. I really trust Richard Rudd. Like he's such a masterful person. Before he ever studied with Ra human design, like he was already, I want to say he was I don't want to say the wrong word. Anyway, he's amazing and super masterful before he even learned about all the human design stuff. So I believe what he says, and I have his very thick book about Gene Keys and then the shift that is happening. I believe it's happening now. It's prophesied in the book, which is a few years old now, about how these solar flares and other energetic things that are going to happen, like maybe eclipse energy. There's these different events that are going to happen that are literally shifting us on an energetic level, on a frequency level, to change our DNA, to literally up level us, help us to be able to hold a higher frequency. Like if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that my thing is frequency. That is my secret sauce for making change fun and easy. It's about frequency. Change your frequency, change your life. Up level your frequency, make the change easier. Like I'm all about making it more fun and more easy. Why? Because my specialty is shortcuts. My human design is literally as Cross of Sleeping Phoenix. I am here to be a catalyst. I am here to help make the transition from old to new ways of living, working, and being, and to make them easier and more fun. And here is the surprising silver bullet. This is like the subtitle for my book that I've been playing with. It is the surprising silver bullet to making change fun and easy. Guess what it is? It's you. It's your choice. You get to choose. That's the thing. You're such a powerful being that your choice, your intention is actually huge. I actually had a call yesterday with another human design practitioner, and she's an energy healer, and her name is Karen. I really learned a lot from you, Karen. Thank you. She was telling me how we can shift our energy. I'm trying to think of the right words. She was talking about how we can clear our energy. We were talking about emotion code and how powerful your intention is. Just saying, I intend for this to clear. Like, I wish I would have known that when I was sitting on that couch for hours and days and in so much pain with my headaches. Like, I wish before I got that healing from Michelle Ann a couple weeks ago. If you've been following the story, you know that I still haven't had headaches like that, and my neck is still it still hasn't tightened up like it used to. So I'm still amazed. Like, I'm so grateful. There are ways to make change fun and easy. There are ways to make healing quick. And if you're looking for one of those shortcuts, that is my role, is to offer shortcuts as a manifesting generator, as an express builder in human design. I'm here to provide shortcuts. And I'm telling you, frequency is the single biggest shortcut. If you want help with your particular change, go to, you know what, you could go there, but that might be confusing. It's going to give you all the options to schedule time with me. There's another one. Anyway, for now, just go ahead and go there. AskGrace.info. If you have any problems with your browser, go to calendly.com/ggravestock. You know what? Let me just put that in the chat. What I want you to know is that there is support available. You can get help if you want it. And I'm here to help you with shortcuts. calendly.com/ggravestock. That is how you can schedule time with me if you want. What I really want to offer you, though, I really want to offer you this insights from these 10 speakers that we had last week. This is free. It's the summary masterclass. You can save yourself a lot of time. Just watch this 1 hour and you will get an introduction to some of these amazing speakers. And it's the shortcut to watching all 10 hours. And then you can decide if you want the upgrade with VIP or you want to reach out to some of the speakers. I've had sessions with several of them and they're amazing. If you heard me talk about it, I don't want to bore you and sound like I'm going overboard, but it's pretty powerful. Amazing people. If you know that you want it, just go to kyr.live/VIP. It's only $27. As a bonus, you do get that masterclass for how to apply all of this information to your life. Very practical, new information that I've never shared anywhere else. And specific to helping you understand your life purpose codes. So check it out if that interests you. I'm going live. I said on the 1st of April that I was going to commit to going live every day for 30 days. And then I talked to an astrologer friend of mine today and she's like, Grace, what are you doing? That's Mercury retrograde. Like, why would you do that to yourself? So I don't know. I may change my mind. But for now, I'm committed to getting this message out. And I'm really curious, what shifts are you seeing? I'm seeing a shift based on geography. I'm seeing a shift in the corporate world back to the office and what that means for culture and for freedom. I'm seeing a shift in people that talk to me about having a burning desire to do work that's on purpose, to really follow their soul's urgings, to do what they're really here to be and do. And the 3D is no longer cutting it. Even when they've made a lot of money, they've been very successful financially. I mean, it's easier for people that have made financial success to say this, but I'm hearing it from people who have and people who haven't. And they're saying like, look, in fact, I saw this on Facebook. One of my friends is in Costa Rica, and she said, I don't have any time anymore to waste time on people who don't get me, who don't want to savor life, who cause, endless meetings and just waste of time. Like, I only have so many hours left on this earth, and I want to make them amazing. So if that's you and you're looking for a shortcut, this is the shortcut. Upgrade to VIP, pick the events, pick the speakers that you want to hear about. They all gave amazing information, life-changing. If you want the shortcut to working with your own chart and understanding what you're uniquely designed to be and do, schedule time for us to talk, calendly.com/ggravestock. You can have a change conversation. It does not cost to have time with me. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear what you are seeing in your space, in your world, and especially about these shifts. I'm really curious. One thing that I'll add is this is new to me. This sort of. I'm seeing this as a pattern. I have less data points. I'm curious if it resonates with you, but I'm seeing people that really want community. They want to be in community with like-minded others. I talked to somebody today that said, I love my family and they love me, but they just don't get me. And I can't have this conversation about frequency and human design and purpose. I can't have that conversation with my family within earshot because they don't get it. And I really want to have conversations with people that get me and that we can talk about these things. That's a trend I'm seeing. And I would love to hear if that's a trend you're seeing. And here's why I'm asking, because I'm thinking about my next event and I'm thinking about making it about intentional communities and interviewing people who are building intentional communities, like literally places where you can go and live, maybe in Costa Rica, maybe in Brazil, maybe in Bali. I have friends in all these places that have communities, and I'm thinking about featuring them so that when people are in a situation like so many of my friends are, and they literally can choose where in the world they want to live. Maybe they have a mobile lifestyle, they have a laptop business, they have passive income, whatever they have, they are able to. There are a lot of people that are in this space right now. What they want is community. They want people who understand them, and they don't have to waste time trying to have all those mundane conversations about what they consider stupid things. They want people who are like-minded to live in community, in proximity with. If that's you, let me know in the chat. Let me know what your interests are. I'm seriously thinking about the next topic for our event. So one last comment before we leave. Lisa says, I'm seeing shifts in the horse world. Oh, interesting. More awareness of activities and practices that aren't beneficial to horses. That's really interesting. So I'm wondering, Lisa, if that means that it's an increasing focus on profits and it's not about the horses has it ever been around the horses? I guess in some places it has, but I'm just wondering if that's what you mean, Lisa. I'm kind of guessing that it's just more of an increased desire in profits. That's what, certainly one of the trends that I'm seeing. So let me know what you're seeing in the comments, wherever you're listening to this from. We're streaming to YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. And I'd love to know what's happening in your part of the world. What shifts are you seeing today? If you're interested in giving me feedback on the event, or you just want to talk about the shifts that you're seeing, I'm really curious. Pick change conversation or quick call when you go to calendly.com/ggravestock and let's talk. I'm looking for input on my next event. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.